right? Man United play Brighton tomorrow afternoon. How do we see the game going under this kind of shadow of Anthony, which is we've discussed to death, and there's no more to say on that now until there's further information. Sancho now being suspended from the first team. How do we see the game going against Brighton? What we saying, panel?
It's crazy. Brighton are favourites. It feels weird.
The Derby's got the stew cooking, man. The stew's
going to be hard.
At low heat for this whole week, man.
Is it Old Trafford?
Brighton are favourites. Yeah, it's Old Trafford. Expand on that, D. You said Brighton are favourites. Expand on that for me.
I think Brighton are on form now, and you got the Sancho thing going on. Man United, you had other situations going on during the international break. It just feels like Man United going into this game. There's been a lot of background noise that, I just don't see how Brighton shouldn't be the favourites going into this game. They're playing great football. I know they had that loss against West Ham recently, but if it hurts me to say, and it's crazy, but Man United, if they manage to come out of this game with a point and try to build on it, I wouldn't be surprised if some of the fans will be happy with that, because Brighton are red on form, and I just rate Brighton more than Man United right now. Because Man United, I rate Ten Hag a lot for what he's done to United, but we don't even know the style of football yet. It's not even obvious, and he's been there for ages.
I have to say, I agree. I agree. Generally, I agree, because I think Brighton are on more form. I think you're in a little bit of a mess right now. I think you'll actually find that Man United will go through a bit of a transition season this season. Very similar, again, to how Arteta's second season was at Arsenal, where we finished 8th in the first season. Nobody expected us to get better and better, and it didn't happen. And I'm not saying that Man United are going to finish 8th or anything like that, but while there's these things going on in the background, the manager's trying to sort out who he wants, who he doesn't want. I think you'll have a little bit of a transition season this season. So Brighton are dangerous, really dangerous. So, yeah. And let's be real, like in the first 4 games of the season, Man United's performances haven't been great. I reckon your best performance was against Arsenal. Aside from that, I can't really pick out. Wolves, he was very lucky to get come away with a win. Nottingham Forest going 2-0 down early on as well. It's unsustainable football at the moment, especially against a great attacking side like Brighton.
Question though, I know everything's going on. Sancho, Anthony, Maguire, all these things. But with these things getting exposed and the wrong people not being in the team, how can this not be a moment of galvanization for the rest of the squad? I mean, like, right, the world is already bagging on us. The people that are causing issues are now being removed, and they're dealing with whatever issues they've got going on. We can now just focus on being what we need to be, which is better for Man United. We got a new midfielder coming in Amrabat, who is going to be giving us a breath of fresh air. Rasmus Højlund will be starting up front instead of Martial. And again, that gives us something different as well. The right wing spot is going to have something new. And again, a new aspect to our play, potentially. So I'm not saying Man United are going and going to play the most beautiful football against Brighton and destroy them 4-0. I'm not saying that. But this whole doom and gloom that Man United season is over, that we can no longer get anywhere but scraping 4 for anything. How we know that cannot be? How we know that's definitely 100% going to be the case? Where we've seen Ten Hag in similar positions. Remember what happened at the start of last season as well, where the team gets together, gets solid, they find a way of playing and get the results. That also could easily happen as well. And it's not a hope thing. It's just that is proof.
It could, KJ. And again, even if Man United are on form and all the players are, playing 9 out of 10 or 8 out of 10, it's still a difficult game. You're facing, Brighton.
Yeah, but that's why I started.
So we're doing it right now. Look, it could work like that, but right now, as it stands, I think Brighton are the favourites going into this game.
Do you know what? I disagree. I think I agree with what Brandon said. That I don't think this is a season for Man United to kick on for me. I think where the club is, and that's the direction from the top. I think it's been pretty clear through the transfer window. The direction from the top seems all over the gaff. So I don't think this is a season for them to kick on. I think United, if they can maintain a Champions League place, great. But let's look at this individual game. I agree. Brighton have been on great form. I agree. Man United against Wolves weren't great. Man United against Nottingham Forest weren't great. The key for me is this is at Old Trafford. And whether people want to downplay it or not, last season, Manchester United's form at Old Trafford was getting results out of games where they didn't perform well. And that's why I think United are going to win this. I think Brighton are a better team. I don't think United are going to finish in a great position, maybe 5th maybe fourth if everything clicks. But on this individual game, it's at home. I think United win it. I'm going to be honest. I think their bad results are going to be away from home, not at home this season.
Yeah, for me, I think this game could actually be a turning point for United. I think if they lose and they lose badly, specifically after everything that has happened with Anthony and Sancho, I think that could pretty much set the tone for the rest of the season. But just as what KJ said, if sometimes, like look at 2006 Italy, that whole Calciopoli situation, it's galvanized them. It brought them closer together, and it was like them against the world. They're going to be distracted, and they went ahead and they used that to do like us against the world, and they won the World Cup. So if United beat Brighton and they perform well, and it's a really good performance upon everything, I think that could set the tone of like us against the world. Everyone thinks our season is over. Our rivals are just waiting for us to fail. The adverse could now happen. So I do feel like because again, remember, this is social media, and players use social media now, and all these players are reading what everyone is saying on social media. It's, they've lost Anthony, they've lost Sancho, the club is a joke, these guys are clowns. So they'll be like, oh, look at what everyone is saying. Let's actually now go and prove them wrong, that we're actually going to come and actually be even better upon all of the negativity. So I think it would work one of two ways.
It's going to be an interesting game. Look, I'm not. Brighton are a tough team. I think you're right about that, D. I absolutely understand. I think that United's start to the season is being slightly over-egged. We were poor against Wolves, there's no doubt. Totally admit that. Got things wrong on the day. Poor in the second half against Tottenham. Should have been leading in that game. Yes, we conceded 2 crazy early goals to Nottingham Forest. One was a weird counter-attack. The second one, listen, ball got crossed in. Willy Bolly weren't even looking. The ball smacked him in the face and goes in. It's a fluke. And then after that moment, we dominated that game and could have scored 5, 6, 7 goals. We deserved to win by a country mile. And I guess, look, we went to one of the hardest grounds to go to away from home. And look, there's still people that think it was onside. We were very close to beating Arsenal. It didn't quite happen for us. Our 2 defeats have been away from home against 2 of the best teams so far this season in the league. So I think there's too much being made. What you said, D, United don't have a style of play. I just think, again, that is completely overstated. Maybe you don't enjoy it, but that doesn't mean there isn't a style of play, And the questions I always ask people is, what is Arsenal's style of play? What is Newcastle's style of play? What's it called? Like, what's the name of it? People say like Man United don't press.
The inverted style, Tel.
Someone said that to me earlier. Well, yeah, you've got a name, the inverted style. Someone said to me earlier, Man United don't press and win the ball back. It's a lie. No team in England has won the ball back in the opponent's half more times than Man United this year. There's a lot of not lies, but misconceptions about our style of play. How much of the ball we have, where our line sits, the amount of chances that we create. Our biggest issue in the last year has been finishing off chances. So many games last season we dominated, but we narrowly won 1-0 or 2-1. But the amount of chances we created and didn't score, or great balls into the right area, but strikers just not being there. Like Weghorst being our lead striker as an example, I think is overstated. And if we create the chances tomorrow, we'll beat Brighton. I'm absolutely convinced we can beat Brighton. I'm worried about them because they're a very good team. But this is Old Trafford, 31 games unbeaten. People say we haven't improved under Ten Hag. He inherited a team that had its worst season in 40 years, that most media and rivals predicted to come anywhere between 6th and 10th. We were told we wouldn't win a trophy. We ended up finishing 3rd, got to 2 cup finals, won a trophy. It missed all the other things that were going on, and created a very good 31-game unbeaten home record in that time. And people say there's been no improvement. For me, it's a ball-faced lie. It's a ball-faced lie that Man United have not improved under Erik Ten Hag, in my personal opinion. It has to. I might say tomorrow, by the way. I keep thinking it's Friday, but yeah, look, I get where you're coming from. But I think to say Brighton are favourites at Old Trafford is a madness statement, personally.
You don't think they are?
I think
they're not the favourites. They're not the favourites to win, in my personal opinion.
I think it's evens. I think it can go either way easily.
Yeah.
I think
Onana will be key. Onana will be key for you, because I think Brighton will dominate possession, because that's the way that they play. I think they will come to Old Trafford and dominate you, and you'll probably look to hit them on the counter attack. And Onana playing his long balls through for Rashford, Højlund, whoever it may be, will be key.
Yeah, I think getting Højlund on the pitch and getting Rashford back to his preferred position is everything for Man United. I think that's the key for me. Rashford on the left. When Rashford's playing in the middle, when he ends up drifting out left, there's no one in the middle, and that's the difference. that's a game changer for me. Look, I also agree with what Terry said. Man United in their prime days under Fergie, people got off of the coach at Old Trafford 1-0 down, right? And under Ollie, that went. You had Everton going there and doing the Sue. That was like Old Trafford was a laughing stock. And last season, Ten Hag brought back Old Trafford a bit, and that's the reason why I'm saying this. Listen, I think if this was at Brighton are the favourites all day long, and I think Brighton win. It's at Old Trafford, and they've managed to somehow, and I think this will happen a lot this season, not look good, but they get results because it's at Old Trafford, and I think that's overall going to be. And also, if Brighton don't have Ferguson, that could be a big miss as well because they haven't got that target man up top.
Yeah, it's interesting. I mean, just looking at the facts though, that they had 60% of the ball against us at their ground last year. They did, and they did at Wembley as well. But the last 3 games at Old Trafford, even though they've beaten us in one of them, we averaged 63% of the ball against them. Yeah. So I know the Zerbi's there now, so there's a difference there when some of those stats come under Graham Potter. But again, they'll have some of the ball. Of course they will, and they'll move it. But I just think people are not maybe focusing on how. Again, I actually disagree. I think at Old Trafford, Man United have been pretty good. What we haven't done is put the ball in the back of the net enough. But we've dominated so many of those games. KJ, I tell you, we do the match reactions. We'd sit there and go, how can we have so much of the ball but feel so nervous in the last 10 minutes? Because we didn't put the ball away. And that's what I'm hoping Hoyland changes. But viewers, I want to get your score predictions on this game. The boys are going to do theirs now. D, what are you going with score-wise, mate?
I'm going to go 1-0.
1-0. Well, considering Brighton are favourites, that's a good result for Man United in your world. I like that. Yeah, Brandon, what are you going with, brother?
2-1 Brighton. Brighton sneak it.
Jeez. Have hope.
2-2.
Nice. Daps.
2-1 United.
Love that. You're saying JJ?
No, I don't love that. Just to be clear, I don't love that. I don't want that at all. I hope Brighton pull your pants down 4-0 Brighton, but I think 2-1.
Yeah. I'm on the same wavelength as Daps. I think 2-1. I think the counter suits United too much, and I think Brighton have been susceptible to the counter this season very, very often. So yeah, I'm gonna go 2-1.
When you gas up these kind of games, it always ends up in one score line, 0-0 in it. Like every single time, 0-0.
0-0.
Yeah, man.
Can you imagine?
Masterclass.
Some super chats here. This one says United will be strong again at home this season. I can see them easily win 2-0, if not 3. They tend to have bad away games and then respond properly at home. That's a true pattern to Man United, to be fair, under Ten Hag. United absolutely have a style of play. I just expect Ten Hag to be more on the front foot instead of seeing it being a sit back and counter-attack team. I hear you. If you guys want to work out what United started players, go watch Danny Devil in the Details, his channel. He breaks it down every week. But for some reason, and it has fact after fact about it, and then people just want to dismantle it. I think it's become fashionable to just say United don't have a style of play. There is one. Yeah, I just don't think people want to see it. It's kind of strange to me. But there we go. This is exactly the time to see Man United smash and grab. That would not surprise me at all. They are one of the best teams at papering over cracks. Cheers, Tevin. And that's a bit of a slide dig, but thanks for the super chat. Chris here says, if a manager calls you out, you've got 2 options: go somewhere or prove him wrong. An analogy in the NBA, Phil Jackson called Kobe out most of the time. He didn't run away. Well, it's just transpired as well. Laurie Whitwell has just said that the club requested that Sancho had to apologize to Eric Ten Hag, and he said no. That's why he's been suspended. So it wasn't the manager suspending him for previous misdemeanors. It's because he won't apologize for basically, in the club's opinion, defending yourself when the manager didn't lie about you. So
how long till a Sancho tweet comes out? I wonder.
Nah, what you call it? It's done, man. Man don't want to be there. You don't want to be at Man United. It's fine.
This here says we can argue on the hows and the whys. Ten Hag called Sancho out. However, the manner in which Sancho responded sealed his own fate, and that was fully within his own control. I think optics are key as well. Like, I'm not really annoyed that he went away to New York, but it's one of those things where, again, perception is reality, and people don't like that saying, but it's the truth, how you're perceived. For me, what I would have done personally during this international break is the only pictures that I would have had my social media team release of me would have been me training. That's all I would have let them release because I'd have controlled the story. But again, I don't personally care that he went off and
why
went
should
to a
Sancho
party.
apologize, Terry? Like what for exactly? So is it
What-
do they wanted an apology for the tweet? Like what
So
exactly?
I think when you read the stories, Man United are again, it's who you believe. I believe Ten Hag's telling the truth, although he shouldn't have said it. And the training standards haven't been there. The player has come out and said that isn't true. So he's called Ten Hag a liar. So for me, if I said something about you, D, that I know and this panel know to be true, and then you go on Twitter and say that I'm a liar, for me and you to be cool again, I'd expect you to apologize for me because you're the liar in that circumstance.
But then if you apologize, then don't you prove Ten Hag right? So if you're chatting rubbish about me and then I go and apologize about you chatting rubbish about me, then does that not prove the whole point?
Yeah,
that
that means you're wrong.
It's kind of going into that. It's done already. It's done already.
But the thing is,
sorry guys, one at a time. D, let me ask you a question. So do you think Ten Hag's lied then that Sancho's training was up to scratch? Do you think the manager's lied?
No, but it's already damage is already done. Like we all know that, regardless of him apologizing or not, he's not going to play for Man United.
I'm sorry, irate, but D, that's not the point being raised here. You're saying why should Sancho apologize?
Yeah.
The only reason you would be asking that question is because you think Sancho's telling the truth. So why should he not apologize? If Sancho's lying, why should he not apologize?
But I don't think Sancho thinks that he's lying. Sancho clearly feels some type of way. What if Sancho's annoyed at Ten Hag for calling him out like that? Like,
yeah, but
what if that's the case? And if you apologize, then it looks like
I can answer that though. Then fine. Then your tweet should say, "Listen, coach, boss, Ten Hag, that stuff should be kept behind closed doors. I don't appreciate you saying it publicly." What he has said is, "I've never messed up any standards of training." Now, I don't believe that's true. So again,
he's ruined his whole reputation, Terry. Though that's the thing, he's ruined.
What do you mean he's ruined? So you think Ten Hag has ruined Sancho's reputation?
I think he has now,
and not his performances on the pitch. And
look, I can admit that though. I've never said that.
South London boy. I know it's the South London boy back in the South London boy. I get it. But let me ask you this question: Sancho's performances for Man United, coupled with reports from his time at City, his time at Dortmund, and in the England camp, that these problems have persisted his whole career. Why is suddenly Ten Hag responsible for ruining him?
Hold up. So let me clarify this. Sancho, we can, I think, all admit there's no 5 games in a row that I can think of Sancho having good games back to back. So Sancho hasn't performed at the levels for Man United. But as you said, Sancho's got this reputation. But how old is Sancho even right now for him to have that, have them problems when he was young? He was young. Everyone some players have mistakes. Some people, it takes longer for them to grow up. I know he's a professional. I know the limelight was on him from a young age. But to question his whole attitude when he was making mistakes when he's 17, 18, I think that's a bit harsh on the player himself. Of course, there's other players when they're 18
why can't you question the attitude of a young person if it helps develop them into a better person? If a young person is going through you can, and you need to correct that. So why can't you?
But using that period when he was like 17, 18, we're talking about City and all them days, and comparing
but it's not just
now.
That period. It's a collation. It's not just what happened at City. That's why it's City, Dortmund, Man United, and England. That is a span of 5 years.
That's
fine. You're telling me 5 years of issues can't get called out.